You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
Hey, Nico, how are you going?
Yeah, I'm going well. I thought we'd just sort of get together and shoot the shit, you know?
Yeah, likely thing for us to do. Yeah, you gave me an extra hour and a half to prepare for it by having a late dinner. And instead of, looking up any movies or anything, I played a bit of Call of Duty. So I'm raring to go, well researched. Look, I think for this one in particular, I have a long history. I've thought about this a lot. I didn't need to do any study because I'm well aware of where I sit on this one.
Just get them. Yeah.
And so
you can't
today,
study on movies.
You can't study movies.
Can you?
Yeah,
No,
yeah. That's what we do here. That's why we're the film critics.
No practice.
We're
talking practice.
We're talking practice. So what we're doing today is we're finally going to settle the debate, the great debate that we've been waiting for, which is Leonardo DiCaprio a great actor? That's the question we're posing today. And Nicholas, in short, yes? Is Leonardo great?
And that'll be my closing statement, Your Honor. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No further questions.
And it's kind of like, legacy, if he died tomorrow, where would he sit in the pantheon?
What would he be remembered by? All the girlfriends that are under 25 for sure.
That's the main thing.
It'd be a young funeral. It'd be a very young funeral. It'd probably be the youngest funeral. It'd probably rival a lot of Palestinian funerals with how young it is.
That's a joke at the expense of the genocidal Israeli. No. It's
Chuck
about
it in there.
I don't know.
We're not laughing at them. We're laughing with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's not punching down because I'm not saying haha. I'm just
it's sort of a
satire,
commiserating.
Right?
Yeah. It's like a satire is the thing.
Yeah, we're leading this with Palestine. I thought it would be it's a good one.
Well, it's on Leonardo hasn't said anything about it yet. Taylor Swift hasn't said anything. I think if Taylor Swift came out tomorrow and condemned the Zionist project, it would be over. So every day she doesn't do that,
exactly.
Is another day that the world suffers.
On the other hand, though, she does have a boyfriend that will likely be conscripted to U.S. service. If push came to shove, she can't really just...
Do you think she could radicalize him? Well, no, probably not good for him to be radicalized. Who was that other NFL guy who was in Iraq? It was in a friendly fire.
Oh yeah. I think did he murder people on his own soil or in Iraq?
No, he was in Iraq, and he was talking to a journalist, and he was going to blow open how pathetic Iraq was, how it was the wrong thing to do, and he got fragged by his squadron. Yeah. What's his name? He's famous. This is when we need a producer. Jamie.
Yeah, we do. We need someone to look it up.
Jamie. NFL.
He's just a name tag, bro. Just a name tag. Another one for the
NFL star pile. Iraq War. Oh, what?
Have a look. NFL Iraq.
NFL Iraq.
This is how you know it's live.
Oh, it's Tillman. Patrick Tillman. Pat Tillman. Yeah. Pat Tillman. If any listeners out there who are just movie fans and not real geopolitical enthusiasts, look up Pat Tillman. That's the U.S. Army just killing a U.S. Army guy because he was like the star, right? Like square jaw fucking from Mississippi or somewhere like that. 6 foot fucking.
What was his filmography? Like any notable films?
No, mainly an NFL player. So not really related to our podcast. I agree, but there was some good documentaries. He probably has a filmography because.
Sorry, I meant not film. Notable kills in action. Who did he play for?
Pat Tillman. Well, I closed the window, so I'll open it up again.
49ers again.
I think
He's
wearing red. Oh no, Cardinals. He's
down.
wearing Cardinals. Sorry, that's not red.
Arizona, right? Okay.
Arizona. Yep. He was round 7, pick 226, but yeah, he played for Arizona.
Famously picked in the 7th round.
How old was he?
So, all right,
27.
well, that's a good derail to what was. I don't know how we got there from Leo, but that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. And so what
look,
we're really
we'll
talking
have
about.
a conversation off camera. So maybe we'll pick it up from there with your, I suppose, come around. So lately,
Come to
do you
Jesus
think
moment.
Leo's performances. I'm saying probably from what Revenant and just before,
Or my road to Damascus, my conversion.
Yep. So he's sort of really just he's put some numbers up for you recently, though. Not
recently,
before,
I think.
Yeah.
In the Wolf of Wall Street, I think marks a turning point in my appreciation of Leo's career, for sure. Before
Fair
then,
enough, yeah.
I mean, I think I liked him in his early career. Titanic, Basketball Diaries.
He had a great start, didn't he?
He had a great start.
A really, really good start.
Like, well, he was acting above his age. He was, better than anybody his age. And to be that beautiful and that talented is, and this is why he has the career that he has, is because, when he was young, he was extremely talented and extremely beautiful. Everybody loved him. And so he's been some hated for sure, but it was like the standard hating a pretty boy.
Exactly. So he was basically what I sort of said. So he turned that crowd a bit. The crowd that originally hated him, so the younger male generation, even sort of 30-year-olds, he became their boy. So he was like, my boy Leo. He turned them around. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he did turn them around with, his star run during the 2000s. I feel like that was when he was his least impressive. Like, he's doing things like Blood Diamond. I mean, I know he did The Departed, but I think he's maybe
Both great.
No, Blood Diamond is not good.
Honestly, Blood Diamond is really good.
No,
I don't think
I watched it recently
at all.
I mean, he was fine, but he was. I felt miscast because I'm just distracted by Leo doing the accent and everything. I maybe a problem on my part, but I didn't find him very believable in the role as. But I think that's just how he was at the time. The Departed. He insisted upon himself. He was doing these really big, flashy performances.
He's like the Godfather, was he?
Exactly. And like The Aviator, I also didn't enjoy him in that one. I think.
That was a tricky performance. I can see where you're coming from. I think he tried for something that wasn't your classic lead performance, and maybe look, for me, I thought it was good enough.
You like
earned
the
him
movie?
an Oscar nom, I'm pretty sure. No, I mean his performance. It earned him an Oscar nom.
Yeah, but just in general, did you like the movie?
No, I did. I like that he was sort of.
I don't think you did. Oh no, yeah, your best actor nominated. Yep. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so I thought you said no, you didn't like the movie.
No.
Man, you called my bluff. I hated it. No, I did. I liked it. And I liked his performance. I thought obviously, and Kate Blanchett, I think, did. Actually,
she was great.
No, she got a nomination.
No, I think she did win.
Well. Oh, she won. Okay.
She won Best Supporting.
Yeah, there you go.
It was one of her best roles, but she's brilliant. She's one of our best exports.
So where I'll concede some ground here, Ryan, is he's often been in movies where he hasn't been the out-and-out star, and he's been maybe outshone.
He's been outshone
in the best thing about a movie.
I don't think there's a movie where he's been the best.
No, for sure there has The Revenant. So I mean,
Tom Hardy
I
outshines
disagree.
him easily.
I think I said that in just reaction to him winning the Oscar, but looking back, I actually think he was better than Tom Hardy. I mean,
fair enough. Okay, I watched it pretty recently, and Leo is great, but I do feel like there is that element of I mean, he does do a lot of screaming and getting mauled by a bear or getting knocked into a river or getting shot or, and he's just kind of like grunting and screaming, which he's good at. And it's totally believable.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that's maybe the first movie where I believed he was a different character. That being said, Tom Hardy is like a real fucking character in that movie.
No, I get that.
And
I think it's a very physical performance. I agree, but I do think it was a bit of a reflex kind of, are you giving him the Oscar for that? Whereas I do think he was pretty decent in that film.
I thought he deserved the Oscar for it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought, I was looking back on that and I thought, yeah, you know what? That was pretty good. I thought he was the best thing in Gatsby. I thought he was the best thing in...
Well, Gatsby's not very good. Maybe, I can't remember. It's been a while.
You don't like Gatsby?
I don't like any Baz Luhrmann movie, really. I don't think I've liked a single one.
Oh man, we should do Baz. That's going to be interesting.
We could just make this one Baz.
Yeah, well, let's change the title. Let's just talk about Baz. Baz is so polarizing.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
No, I'm either a massive fan or I hate it so much.
What do you think of Elvis?
One or the other. Look, actually, I didn't hate it, but I hated that Tom Hanks was in it and had the role. Like his character was so annoying that it took what could have been a pretty okay film into a fairly mediocre one.
So with Baz Luhrmann, you love him or hate him, apart from Elvis, which is middle of the pack.
I suppose that's Well, that was love or hate him before Elvis, and it was like, now you know what? I liked Elvis. I liked what he was going for. I think he's very exciting. In terms,
I wish it was more exciting. Like that's the thing that people say about Baz as well, like that he's this big ostentatious director. And he is like in Gatsby and stuff, but I thought Elvis could have gone way bigger, like way, way bigger.
You think he didn't swing for the fences enough?
I think he played it pretty safe. Like it felt like everybody was like, not everybody, but a lot of people said, oh, this is not like other music biopics. And then I watched it. It was like basically like literally every music biopic I've ever seen.
No,
like Walk Hard. I think
it was not like other biopics, and that it was so just gratifying for whoever the biopic was about. It was like, Elton John, Rocket Man. It's like how great this person is. Queen, the fucking Bohemian Rhapsody, where they're like, boom, and they're like, it's like,
hang on, we got something there.
Yeah, I know how stupid, and there's completely disregards his entire life and writes him as like a completely different person than he actually was. I think this was it captured at least what I liked about it was. And I went in not knowing a heap about Elvis, but it captured that hysteria of the Elvis popularity, like similar to the Beatles, I suppose.
I'm a massive Elvis guy. That might play into it.
Oh, you actually really know. So you know a lot more about what you're talking about when it comes to Elvis.
Well, I mean,
that's the thing. The film was made for me, who wasn't maybe a massive Elvis fan, and so
I was watching. I think I watched it with Meigs, and she's like, "Oh, did that all really happen? That's so interesting. I didn't know all that about Elvis." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's all. There's way more stuff that happened about Elvis."
Yeah, for sure.
Which is obvious, but no,
I mean,
that's not why I
really
disliked it. I disliked it because I thought it was kind of boring.
I think it was
by the numbers.
Yeah, you say safe. We don't have to keep on this, but like you say safe, but like the casting and having the
Austin Butler
Tom Hanks he was really good. He killed it. He was just doing. He was like good Jared Leto if he could act. Like he's just fully well, I know you like Jared Leto or sort of 50-50.
Well,
but like he was sort of. He was Elvis everywhere he went. He just never stopped being Elvis, even on screen and everything like that, which is obviously could be very irksome, but it worked for the movie. He really was believable. But Tom Hanks was just like, what the fuck is he doing in that film? Seriously, what is he doing?
His makeup was distracting, and I feel like that's probably what the guy was like, but maybe it could have been more creative because it's ridiculous. He's a ridiculous character. It takes you out of the movie.
He's the narrator. Why is he the narrator? How crazy is that? Like that is just the wrong point of view. Anyway, what I'm talking about with
who did Leo play in?
Leo, yeah. Leo's playing the same character from Killers of the Flower Moon. You can see him just bulldogging in the background.
So Leo,
let's talk about Leo. Okay, so Gatsby, he was the best part of it, as in like he was the best actor, and he was really sold the myth that was Gatsby. I think it was great for me too. And another one, I
guess
know you disagree, but I think he was best in Django. I think he deserved an Oscar then as
uh,
Monsieur Candide because the movie really peaked with him on the screen. He was really good.
I think the
He was the best
movie
part about the movie.
coincidentally peaked at the same time. Well, not coincidentally. That's just the peak of the movie. That's like the climax. It's where it gets exciting. I think Jamie Foxx is definitely better, and Christoph Waltz is better in that movie. Leo's fine, but
both.
actually, definitely both.
I'll give you one of those two. Not both.
Okay, well then one of them.
Jamie.
He's still not the best in the movie.
No, I'm not going to give you one of them. I said I give you one of them. I'm not going to give you one of them. I'm just trying to talk Django down too.
Django was one of the key ones where it felt like the older Leo, the one I didn't like, where it just feels like Leonardo DiCaprio putting on a costume and doing a southern accent. And you can tell it's just him putting on an accent and wearing a costume. And I know I've said this before, but that's believability as an actor. I never get that with other actors of his quote unquote stature. But for Leo, I found him unbelievable in the role.
I think you do. And I'm just going to put it to you that you're perhaps putting some. So he's got a very unique look. So you see Leo, you can't mistake him for anyone else. You know it's Leonardo. Same with Jack Nicholson. You see Jack Nicholson on screen. Way he talks, even he is Jack Nicholson. Doesn't mean that his character is he's just Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men as the Colonel. He's Jack Nicholson in The Departed. Well, I think that's a you problem, and I mean that not in a disrespectful way. I mean that in a lot of people can watch Leo and not be like, it's Leo in dress up or Leo putting on a South African accent. They're sort of, yeah, cool. He's acting, but he's not. Just like any actor, you can tell it's them, but he's the character at the time. He's not Daniel Day-Lewis' character at the time, where his method acting is so far into his role. Doesn't have to be too, because imagine if he did Daniel Day-Lewis for Blood Diamond, you would hate it even more.
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, he doesn't need to.
I think he could because I think the story isn't about him. He's just a vessel for the story. You know what I mean? Like I think maybe he was. I honestly think he overacted a bit too much in Killers of the Flower Moon. I didn't, like I said in the previous pod. I think he was almost distracting in the movie. I know you liked him, but in that I just thought he was too much doing a bit. Where maybe you think that was what Monsieur Candy was doing, but Candy seemed a lot more like a legitimate character.
Nah, see, I thought Candy was a bit, and Burkhart was, a more complex character.
Dalton.
Complex, yeah. Rick Dalton, but again, Brad Pitt is the best part of that movie.
Oh yeah. Who actually got the Oscar nom? But he helps his people. He helps the people around him. Wolf of Wall Street. He's the best actor.
He's the only lead.
He's the best actor. You can include all.
There's no real supporting character. Every character gets
Jonah Hill.
Every character gets like 10 minutes of the movie, apart from Leo. So like really have any
out of the park.
Yeah,
count it.
But I like Wolf of Wall Street, and I think, and I've said this to you before, I think, was that was the first, because I really didn't like Leo when it came out, and that helped me not see it as like a badass character. Obviously, I probably wouldn't have thought that anyway, but it helped. I immediately disliked Leo, disliked in a good way, disliked Jordan Belfort, the character, because of how I perceived Leo. And I do feel like him, and maybe he wasn't doing it, but Marty was doing it without his knowledge, playing on Leo's reputation, image, and sort of folding it into the character. And you immediately get like a sense of the character's somewhat shadiness.
Yeah, I think you can give that to Marty. I know Marty's used Leo in many, many, many films. But I think
where would he be without Marty?
Certainly that was an obvious choice, having Leo as Jordan Belfort. Just, I don't think. I mean, there's probably others that could have done it, but like that was part of his I suppose draw, was the fact that he was like a star, or
like you want his life,
ego.
and you're pissed off if you don't have his life.
Really, really good movie, similar to Fight Club and American Psycho, in that a lot of people don't understand that that's not someone
It's not an
you
aspirational character.
It's not aspirational. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So Wolf of Wall Street is better. People like even people who see that will criticize Wolf of Wall Street. I don't understand how you can watch that movie and see that it glamorizes what's happening in that movie, unless it's already somewhat appealing to you in some sense, because it's horrible.
You know what it really is? It's just that it's that quest for just the moolah money. You're just like it's basically that's all it is at almost at all costs. And people, when it comes down to it, same reason why like Wall Street, Gordon Gekko was like revered, and Alec Baldwin from what the movie where is it ABC?
Oh, Coffees for Closers. Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yes, yeah. It's just that when people are like, you know what, I just want to have lots of money and just get it at all costs, and that's what these guys are doing. It's sort of like,
and Marty's great at it.
It's like mask is down. That's all people want.
It does look really fun for like half the movie, and then you can. He does a really good job of deconstructing it, which I think is what Marty's done for a lot of his later career, aided and abetted. But it's Leonardo DiCaprio. I do wonder. I mean, it's just interesting. He has an interesting career trajectory because he started off as this young, talented actor, and then I thought was sort of like maybe he got complacent. Maybe like he was the hottest star in Hollywood. Maybe. I mean, he always attached himself to good directors, though, like Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Alejandro Inarritu,
Baz Luhrmann.
And I guess it's
twice though.
It's hard to judge his career because he's in pretty much exclusively good movies with good directors because he is a box office draw, and he's proven time and again that he is willing to be a director's actor. Do whatever it takes for the movie. He does seem to really, try really hard. And that's the thing. I feel like as he's gotten older, this happens with everybody. He has a greater depth to him. He has a greater perspective on emotions and empathy because he's lived through them all now. He's 49. I think that makes you a better actor. So like he's gotten better. 49? I thought he was 49, yeah. He's gotten better and he's more naturalistic now. Which I appreciate more because it's the facade that you don't want to see. You want to see the character, not the actor. And I think he's gotten much better at that.
I get what you're saying. I put it to you that is almost the polar opposite of Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise has gotten faker and faker. Like Top Gun, the latest one, Maverick, he does not look like a person. He looks honestly just like a CGI thing, but it's really him. He's really 60.
I think they probably de-age him a bit. I think everybody's getting de-aged a little bit now. Sure, it's fucked up, but I think
when you got who was it? What's his name? Val Kilmer, who's like
I thought you could say Miles Teller. Oh yeah, Val Kilmer, yeah.
Miles Teller. It's basically Miles Teller, yeah. Anyway, so look, a comparison you also talked about off camera was of Timothée Chalamet, which I thought was fairly apt. So in terms of he was flung into the spotlight early on, and then he got some really huge roles, and his star, let's call it star meter, rose. Now the difference is he's picking Willy Wonka to do this. Like he's kind of just he's thrown all that goodwill from like doing the arty kind of flicks before and being a massive name, and he's hitched it all on Wonka.
He's like 24 years old, and he's like,
dude, that's such a misstep. Isn't it such a misstep? That's a career ruiner.
He's been like misstepping this whole year, the whole fucking SNL thing, and he's this weird like trying to connect him to Martin Scorsese thing because he was in like this fucking Martin Scorsese ad, and then Variety or somebody like that did one of those YouTube videos of like Martin Scorsese and Timothée Chalamet answer your craziest Twitter questions. And their position, and I saw like a Martin Scorsese and Timothée Chalamet like sit down interview thing, but Martin Scorsese's never going to cast him in a million years.
What do they have to do with each other?
Nothing. I don't know what it's like, and it's not worked. And he's I feel like Wonka may be the nail.
SNL thing? What's the SNL thing? I'm curious.
He was on SNL, and they did a skit about Boy Genius, and Troye Sivan. Which was just it doesn't help because it was pretty cringe millennial. But then he did like a Hamas he had a sketch where he did like a Hamas bit, and people. This was like a couple weeks ago. It's like, why are you doing Hamas bits? I would say no to that if I was on Saturday Night Live. So everybody's side eyeing Chalamet
That's
now.
his problem. He's sort of, you can't say no. He did Woody Allen 3 years ago.
I know, and then immediately like apologizes. It's like it was like 6 weeks ago. I had no idea what I was doing.
I've researched and I've made some mistakes.
I've learned.
Yeah. He was so bad in it too. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called A Rainy Day in New York, and it was like, because you've always kind of been not. I've been sort of maybe on the fence, but maybe more on his fence. But that was like, yeah, man, he sucks. He was so bad in that.
What are you talking about, Woody Allen? I was on his side a little bit, and then
yeah. I was like, Woody's fine, and then
well, that's the thing. Nobody can accuse you of being anti-Semitic because you have every reason in the world to boycott Woody Allen, and you don't. That's brave. I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm standing by Woody. 13? All of them?
But yeah, Timothy Chalamet. So you were watching that, and that was what made you think he's not that good.
Because Woody Allen, what he does, he writes himself in his films, right? So Owen Wilson pulls it off really well in Midnight in Paris, for example. He's like, he kind of gets it.
Oh well, good.
He gets it. Timothy Chalamet, it's a great movie. You're right. Is it? I do. I've actually watched it way too many times, but Timothy Chalamet doesn't get it. He's just incredibly like. It's like he's watched a Russell Brand video and decided to just chuck an entire thesaurus into every sentence that he says without knowing what the words mean. At least Russell Brand knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But he just chucked like.
I'm going to take that as the quote. Just quickly.
It's just verbal diarrhea. What was that?
The quote for the podcast is Russell Brand knows what he's talking about.
knows what he's talking about. Yeah, you could actually snip that out. I'm like, I did say that. Forget context. And Selena Gomez is the other one who's the I suppose.
Yeah, she also apologized.
Fuck! Wow. I mean, like they're just not playing. They've been asked to play these really intellectual characters, and they can't because they're not. No. They're not. And I think like they can't.
I think that often happens with these young stars and starlets because they just don't grow up in the real world at all. So they just can't be normal people. They're just like kind of pretend. And so like eventually life kicks everybody in enough that you do develop emotions and a personality and a level of just like awareness about everything. But these young stars, they don't have that in the same way. Their problems are just like not what other people have as their problems. So when they're playing these characters, which are real people, it's a struggle. And I think Leo had a bit of that. He coasted by on talent and good looks. And then he was like the most talented, successful star in Hollywood. And for 10 years, he didn't improve, I think.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think he had a really, really sudden and rapid rise. So his start came from, I'm pretty sure
Gilbert Grape was the big one.
Growing Pains.
TV
show with that hardcore Christian dude. So that was his start. He was already 14 at the time, so he was not someone who had been in the game for very long. He was
14 is
I'm
very
fairly
young,
sure.
though.
No, not for an actor. It's like think of them like Jedis, right? Like they need to be in the acting guild by the time they're 3. I'm not sure about Timothy Chalamet. He's French Canadian or just French or something. No, I feel like he was in early.
I think just quickly that you like. To be a normal person, it's like you have to break in your late 20s, early 30s even is great.
Okay, yeah. I think that sudden rise is probably where he was like, oh my God. But he did come from pretty humble beginnings, I'm fairly sure.
And he handled it pretty well.
You might have to look it up. I'm not sure. Were they pretty good? Maybe I was just reading some article that was just like trying to pat him up and say, look, he's self-made. He came from like a really poor single mother house. Maybe I've just dreamt that completely and that didn't happen at all. I always thought it wasn't from like a really very well.
His parents divorced. Single. Yeah, like a normal. His mother was a secretary, legal secretary, normal jobs.
Yeah.
And George.
Yeah, like they weren't.
His dad was an artist, so that helps, but it's certainly not nepotism.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
anyway, my point there was that he hasn't come from the same It was very rapid, that kind
Correct.
of rise, and he was like, "Whoa, who is this guy?" So he was on what was that show? Growing Pains, and I'm like, "Fuck this kid, he's something." And then he was on he was in This Boy's Life, acted alongside Robert De Niro. Would do it again later on.
Oh, that's what. And Robert De Niro, he never recommend. You know this story where he never recommends any actors or anything. But he called Marty after working with him in, I guess, that movie, and he was like, "Hey, you need to check out this kid, Leonardo," and then the rest is history.
Like from Back to the Future, it's just like, Marty, check this out, Marty, Marty. So I mean, he had this talent, and he came on. I think his worst, and we disagree on this, which is absolutely fine. Because I'm maybe being a bit harsh, but I think in Titanic he wasn't that good. I think it was obviously a very successful film, one of the greatest ever. But in terms of his films, I think that was his worst.
I think
that's just what I think. But that's how highly I regard him. Like I just think he's really great and everything else.
I think he's brilliant in that because he is essentially kind of playing a version of himself at that time, like the youngest, hottest guy in the world, which is exactly what he needed to be, like this super charismatic guy who's going to win over Kate Winslet, who is a rich, I mean, she's not happy, but it has to, this Leo is kind of what ties the whole thing together, makes the movie work. You have to believe that she will fall for him, and I do believe it, like 100%. And I think he's so good in it. He's got that like cocksure attitude that the character needs. Because of where he was at that point in his time, point.
Can you just imagine how different the film would have gone if she was happy? She was a happy fiance. Billy Zane treats her really well, gives her the diamond, like really respects her and everything like that. And Rose is a much harder sell. It's like, what are you doing? Just fucking.
I'd love it if you pitched that to James Cameron. You got to interview him. Like, what if that was the fuck off,
idiot? And then he goes on, I think from there, Romeo and Juliet was before that, which you didn't like that? Best. I really liked it. So I think that's one of the best Romeo and Juliet screen version, at least. But
I'm not a big fan of the modernizations while like retaining the original. I mean, it can work. Coriolanus is a good one.
Best Mercutio ever. Would you agree? I can't remember his name, but let me figure out his name.
Harold Perrineau, isn't it? Is he Mercutio? I can't remember. The black guy.
Yeah, he kills it.
He's good.
Yeah, he's really good. John Leguizamo, Claire Danes. She was really. I think I was one of her first. I think, as in like she was very, very new, like 18, 19 or something like that. Jamie Kennedy. Wow.
Look, I haven't watched it since I was 18.
Pete Postlethwaite.
Oh, big fan.
Oh yeah, give it a rewatch. Yeah, I rewatched it again.
I did download it the other day. Okay, I'll give it a go. I'm in a Shakespeare kind of period. And we're running out of
that's
time.
Another one that kind of grows in you, isn't it? Shakespeare, watching it again, you're like, you know what? I got an appreciation for
Shakespeare, right? Have you seen? He can. He's a bit of a wordsmith. That old Shakespeare. Have you seen Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet? That's one of my favorites.
No, I haven't. I think I was put off Kenneth Branagh productions from Poirot.
All right. Yeah, it is funny that I've seen this somebody on Twitter probably, but it's funny that like his version of the one for them, one for me is like the one for them is like the boring 4-hour Shakespeare drama, and the one for him is like the mustache twirling Poirot. He just wants to do the French.
Put more action.
I mean, there's not really many more of. I mean, he has quite the kind of contained filmography. Inception. I thought he was fine. Everybody else is pretty much better than him.
Who? Name
Tom Hardy, Elliot Page, Michael Caine for 2 scenes. Fucking everybody.
Was good. Look, yeah, better, worse. Marianne Cotillard. Yeah, that's another one.
Shutter Island. Boo, just not worth. Really.
You don't like Shutter Island, but look, I did, and it was, like I think he's good in it. I think a rewatch it wasn't as good, so maybe I've come down on it a bit.
Well, I think I gave it like a 6 back in the day, so, and I haven't watched it since. It'd be funny if I watch it again now and I was like, wow, this is my favorite Martin Scorsese movie, actually. Gangs of New York, he was bad in that too. I think we can agree.
No, he wasn't. People think he's bad. Cameron Diaz. You're thinking of Cameron Diaz.
Nah,
Cameron
she's
Diaz
fine. I actually like Diaz in general.
in that film. You
Catch
like
Me If
her
You
in
Can,
other
I thought he
things.
was actually pretty good as well. Similar kind of like at that young age, cocky, getting by on charisma and stuff. Yeah. And all right, so now
let's uncover that Gangs of New York comment you just made. I feel like that's
we've got 2.5 minutes left.
Okay, quickly. Cameron Diaz, you can like her off, like she's on Being John Malkovich, great. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, excellent. Not Forgetting Sarah Marshall. There's something about Mary. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, she was not in.
Something about Mary.
Then,
yeah, good.
Yeah, but she was bad.
She was in The Counselor. She was pretty good in The Counselor, I thought.
Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis was obviously like Daniel Day-Lewis, Liam Neeson, great.
All right, so we're pretty even
bad
on the scorecard for Leo, I think, of the debate. Now, I guess we'll settle it with a final question. Just a settler before we finish anything, really. All right, his just how he is as a person, his dating life. What do you reckon? Acceptable or no?
Yeah. How many planes, private jets he takes? How many private jet plane trips he takes to how many environmentally conscious talks he has and conferences he goes and guest speaks at?
Look, I'll say he's a great actor when he starts
his carbon offsetting.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I'm not defending him as a person. Some of my favorite actors and directors are scoundrels.
Yeah, I know.
It's just part of it. Like they just can't be good people
with film. Yeah, like the other day I watched like a Polanski movie and I was like, really good.
Baby, yeah, like
really, yeah.
Kevin Spacey.
It's almost time for Kevin Spacey video.
What do you like? That's the thing. It's just annoying. It's just I think when
it's just annoying. Yeah,
that is part of life. It's It's nice when they surprise you. Someone surprises you and are actually a really good or decent, upstanding person. You're like, hey, that's all right. It's a win for the people. That's just nice when that happens.
That's a great note to end it on. We've got less than a minute, so we'll leave it there with some words of wisdom from your host Nick. And that's it. Thanks.
Fuck, I'm right in the pussy.